Welcome, brave souls, to another haunting chapter of Ghost Girl Diaries, where the supernatural awaits, transmitting from the other side, where paranormal meets glamour. I'm your host this evening, Crystal Leandra, the Queen of the Dead, a paranormal filmmaker and investigator, and the glam behind the ghost hunt. Here we dive into spine-chilling hauntings, explore the unknown, and uncover the secrets across the most haunted locations in the world. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, you're in for a thrill. So grab your EMF meter, your crystals, and your cross, because things are about to get supernatural with a little bit of glam. Let's get haunted. This is Ghost Girl Diaries. There are aliens in the water. Aliens among us, from the history of aliens all the way up till current times. Now that aliens are coming out of our oceans, we're going to talk about this in-depth podcast today. Today, I'm stepping into unusual, uncharted territory. Normally, I talk about haunts and spirits and phantoms, but today we're talking aliens. Could this be uncharted territory for me? Perhaps. Usually together, we explore the haunted worlds of mystery, but today I just felt like putting a little twist on supernatural. Tonight, we're going to focus our energy by looking up at the stars and down into the waters of the ocean. And that's right, we're talking about aliens. For centuries, humans have reported mysterious lights in the sky, known as UFOs or even UAPs. Is there an intellectual being that is driving these machines, these spacecrafts that we cannot see? I mean, one would simply hope. I mean, if humans are the only ones in this universe, we're in trouble. So who are these mysterious beings? And what are these encounters that we can't explain? Or are we a tiny part of a much larger cosmic story? In today's episode, we're diving deep into the history of UFOs. We're going to talk alien sightings, and we're going to even discuss some of the most famous abductions that have existed. Let's maybe sprinkle a few conspiracy theories in there. I feel like that has to be included. Of course, we're going to talk about my favorite conspiracies, which is JFK and Marilyn Monroe. And then we're going to explore the truly mind-blowing information that has certainly recently been released. That is, aliens are in our oceans. Are UFOs or USOs, unidentified submarine objects, emerging from the ocean itself? I mean, they do say that the ocean is something like over 90% unexplored, so I'm not shocked. Are you? Buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride that we're going to take together. We're going to talk about the history of alien sightings. Now, I'm not going to lie, even though this is a little bit out of the realm for me, usually I stick to haunted and paranormal. This is a fun podcast. If you've been following me for a while, you know I am a huge believer in aliens and the other side. You know that I certainly trust aliens more than I trust our own government. So in order to get the facts, let's start at the very beginning, or as close as we can to it, just considering not everything may have been in history and documented. But did you know that some of the first alien sightings, possibly encounters, were recorded in ancient texts? Let's talk about the Sumerians, because I've talked about the Sumerian texts before. I truly believe that we have only accessed portions of the Bible, and over time it has been tampered with or possibly edited to create a stigma where the church benefits more than the people, and it puts the people in fear of not believing they cannot create their own Christ consciousness without the church. I believe there are some Sumerian texts that have been hidden, possibly in the tunnels of the Vatican within the Catholicism walls, and I don't believe they have been or ever will be released to the public. I mean, it forces us to get in line like sheep indefinitely. They can't release it now because the churches and all of these nonprofits would stop making money. But that's a podcast for another day. Okay, let's get off of my soapbox. Back to the Sumerians. They have stories and original texts about a species of alien called the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki is described as gods that came down from the sky to share their knowledge. This includes things like wisdom, astrology, and even possibly the ancient pyramids, or even think about the Mayan temples. Apparently, they also shared their technology with us. And this is where things step up into ideologies like Lemuria or the ancient land of Atlantis that no one can find, possibly due to a tsunami that hit in the Atlantic Ocean and made all of Atlantis disappear, including its history and texts. If you know me, I am obsessed with Atlantis because I truly feel like that was my last past life on Earth. I have also had an indefinite fear of water my entire life because I believe I drowned in a tsunami. Random fun facts: I'm a Cancer rising, so I'm obsessed with the ocean. I'm obsessed with water. Water heals me. Like, I love nothing more than to, go to Malibu in California, or even there's a place called Carmel by the Sea that's a little bit more, central mid California, and it is magical. It's very witchy. If you haven't been there, please make a trip to Carmel by the Sea. They have dolphin sightings, killer whale sightings, seals. It's amazing. Anyway, I love to be there. I would love nothing more but to buy a 2-door house in Carmel by the Sea. But the thought of living that close to the ocean brings back past life memories for me from when Atlantis was taken down by a tsunami. I am deathly afraid of natural disasters. I have been my whole life. That's part of the reason I left Colorado, was because I feared tornadoes. And I really do believe this is connected to past life. Now, that's why I have such a connection to understanding the Anunnaki, and I've done so many interesting researches behind who the Anunnaki were and how they helped mankind evolve. Now, although they were treated by humans as gods, they weren't necessarily gods. I believe they were just an alien life that was clearly very far advanced, more than we are. Although these Anunnaki were considered divine or holy by the humans here, because the humans felt like they helped them so much evolve on the planet Earth. Now, how could you tell me that aliens don't exist if the Anunnaki did not actually show up in the real scripts of the Sumerian people? Could they have just been extraterrestrial visitors? There's also theories behind the Anunnaki that they actually helped humans evolve from Homo sapiens to what we are now. Believe that maybe that's part of what abductions are, is that they will inject DNA to force a sort of level up in our mankind, to sort of catch us up to other forms of races that are within the universe. I mean, the ancient Egyptians also left behind some compelling evidence that aliens existed. Just reference the hieroglyphs that have been found over all of these years. At Abydos, they actually found carvings, and these carvings seem to resemble modern aircrafts that we would think of as UFO technology. It also had ancient texts like pictures of helicopters and even planes. So it's once again believed that whatever aliens, possibly the Anunnaki that visited the Egyptians, were also the ones that helped us assist creating what helicopters and airplanes are today. But my question to you is, how could a civilization from thousands of years ago know such information and knowledge when planes weren't even invented till the 19th century? That's thousands of years ago. Let's talk about the 1561 celestial phenomena that happened. This is when witnesses reported a, quote, battle in the skies between two strange objects that looked like spheres. Some claimed it was a religious sign from God or possibly Jesus, but modern UFOologists believe that it was actually UFOs in the sky. Also, we can't forget the 1947 Roswell incident. This was the pivotal birth of understanding UFO culture and what it is today. Some claim it was a weather balloon, and of course the government tried to hide it, but do we really think that it was something much more extraordinary and it was an alien ship that crash landed? I mean, the mere secrecy behind Roswell is what has created us to keep talking about this discussion and keep it really in the forefront of our mind. And this is what caused the conspiracies to continue to grow to this day. Famous abductions and encounters. We can't leave this one out. I do need to leave just a little note now that I've been living in Vegas for a good 10 years. When you live in Vegas, it is just a known fact that aliens and UFOs exist. When I first moved here, I was really shocked because locals that have been here for many years were so open to the fact of like, oh yeah, aliens exist, UFOs exist. Obviously, a little bit north of us, we have, Area 51, we have the black mailbox and the alien highway, and we also have, what we know as our kind of alien base, which is Nellis Air Force Base. A lot of people that work at Area 51 will fly there. It's an hour flight from Nellis Air Force Base. And I think because this is all so interconnected, and I also believe that because Vegas is so bright in the sky at night, it's probably the brightest city on the planet, next to possibly Paris with the Eiffel Tower. But it's so bright here that I believe that also could be like a center point for aliens to maybe be able to visually pinpoint it on a map. We see Vegas from space. There's so many lights on the strip. You know, moving here, it was just really interesting. I had believed in aliens. I had seen, things in the sky that were unexplainable. But moving to Vegas was a whole different monster. The culture here, and I'm not talking about people that just move here. I'm like talking about people that have been here for more than 10 years. And now I have been here for more than 10 years, and I can confidently say that it's true. We see UFOs in the sky all the time. It is not shocking. It is literally just a part of the culture here. And, it's kind of funny. I spoke with some of my friends when all of this alien stuff sort of started coming out. Like, oh, are you seeing, the ships out of the ocean? And we're talking about that. And all my friends were like, being in Vegas, it's like so comforting that the world is finally catching up. So it's really interesting how Vegas is so like, yeah, so what? I know that there was a thing that happened on social media not too long ago where a ship crash landed in someone's backyard, and there was like some conspiracies behind it. The person that shot that video and was involved in that must have not been in Vegas for very long. They must have just been new to Vegas. If that was anyone else, I don't think it would have been shocking. Now let's talk about famous alien abductions. I think that's what causes the fear within what an alien is the abductions. It's these spine-chilling stories that make you wonder how safe you actually are innocently trying to fall asleep in your bed at night and you wake up on a spacecraft. A lot of people will report waking up in some sort of medical examination room, being surrounded by beings that do not look human, and they're basically doing some sort of medical exam on them. Some have complained that they've had traction devices implanted in them. Women have said they believe they've had eggs recovered. Men have said they've had sperm recovered. And that's really, I think, what creates the fear behind abductions. The only little sprinkle that I want to put on this is I listen to a lot of Bashar. I love listening to him. Now, he's claimed to be this celestial being that channels through the human Daryl Inca. Bashar says something really interesting about alien abductions. He says that oftentimes, more often than not, like over a 90% chance, if you are being abducted, it is a future version of yourself, and you have created some sort of contract with that future version of yourself. You may not remember. It might have been a contract that was created pre-incarnation. It might have been a contract that happened when you were astral traveling to the other side. But oftentimes he said that when you are abducted or you experience what you appear to be an abduction, it is just a future version of yourself in alien form or in another, suit, essentially. And sometimes you have contracts to, retrieve eggs, egg retrieval. And this is once again because you have made the decision to help evolve mankind. And at the end of the day, just one more little opinion before we get into these famous cases of abductions. If aliens have the technology that we see and they are hovering, in these fantastical, superhuman machines that can go at rapid speed, clearly we can't even make it to Mars yet. If they have that kind of power and technology, they would have already destroyed us. So that's why I don't see it as a fear at all. All right, I want to talk about my favorite case, which is Betty and Barney Hill. And in fact, if you're interested, I would love to do a deep dive on this. I've watched so many documentaries on Betty and Barney Hill. This was the famous abduction that happened in 1961. They were just a normal couple and they were driving home when they happened to see a really big bright light. This is how most abduction cases begin. They claimed that they were taken aboard the spacecraft and then examined. These beings apparently had large almond eyes. Their story sort of set the stage for other people to feel safe enough to come forward and talk about their abduction experiences as well. And I'm not going to say that there aren't bad aliens versus good aliens, but if these people are getting abducted and then they're returned, I mean, if they really wanted to hurt and harm them, would they really return them? Let's make it make sense is sort of what I'm saying. There's another famous case called Travis Walton, and his experience actually inspired the film Fire in the Sky, which I highly suggest watching if you haven't seen it. Travis essentially disappeared for 5 days after what he calls was an alien abduction. And when he returned and started to tell his story, it shocked the world. He says that while he was aboard on this spacecraft, both human and alien-like beings and even hybrids were together there to greet him. Of course, not all encounters are as famous, and it's interesting because I've done deep dives where there are support groups online with thousands and thousands of people worldwide who claim they've had alien abductions, and they feel the need to find within each other a community, which I think is really beautiful. Not all of them are in fear, and some are. I actually personally know someone who has a potential alien contract, and it happens often and over and over. And I'm not going to say who this person is. I'm just going to protect their privacy, but they've been experiencing abductions for quite a while. They are in Vegas, which is once again not shocking because we see spacecraft here all the time. And this person has a almost all-knowing psychic vision knowledge of when an abduction is about to take place. They said they can predict it within a week before it actually happens. And when the abduction takes place, they actually feel like home, they said. They will remember waking up on the ship, they see these beings, and they are very happy to be there. So this person believes they may actually be some sort of a hybrid. And this person actually, I've seen the photos. When they come back from the abduction, they're gone for one night. When they come back, they have these really strange markings all over the back of their body. It's similar to what you would call crop circles, except it's obviously smaller and on the body. And, they have tried creams and ointments to get rid of these sort of imprints. They're not bruises. They're not painful. They're just like an imprint in the skin. I want to say it almost looks like a branding, but it's not burnt skin. I really don't know how to explain it, but within a week or two, these markings will go away. And every time the abduction happens, these markings will show up. And they told me that in between abductions, they get quite sad because they feel at home on the spacecraft. So I'm only sharing that because I think it's a different perspective to be able to see that I think that most of this isn't all bad. I think it does seem scary, though, to be abducted from your bed at night, knowing that you're in paralysis and have no control over it. Unfortunately, some of the most chilling stories of the abduction aren't famous, and they never seek a platform to be told. So I do encourage you, if you're interested, to go down a rabbit hole and look for those support groups where people have these discussions. But my question for you is, what do you think? Could these people have really been taken and abducted by extraterrestrials? Or is there another explanation? Okay, another favorite topic of mine is alien conspiracies. And now here's where things get really weird and interesting. The conspiracies. Now, I try not to deep dive too far into conspiracies, and here's why. Because I believe in parallel universes. I believe in the multi-universe. I believe that everything is happening all at once. I believe that at any point we can change our reality depending on our perspective. We literally are the visionary behind our eyes of what we create. So some conspiracies could be real. And then I do think some are really obnoxious and not for me. So that's why I don't really deep dive too far into conspiracies. But I would love to talk about the conspiracy behind Marilyn Monroe and JFK. It had been speculated that Marilyn Monroe learned too much information from JFK regarding UFOs, bases, and extraterrestrials. Apparently, this is during her fling and affair with JFK. And a lot of people actually believe that this ultimately led up to her death. There's claimed to be a CIA document, which does exist out there. I encourage you to look it up and look for yourself, And this document hints that Marilyn was planning to reveal the government's secrets. She was pretty much angry that JFK wasn't willing to leave his wife for her, and because of that, she was going to expose all of this information to the public. And unfortunately, that's what led to her life being taken. Could this glamorous Hollywood star, could her life have been silenced and taken for knowing too much? And then, of course, we have the most famous Area 51. We can't forget that. And that is the most infamous UFO hotspot, although I do believe that it is not the same. Being in Nevada, you hear a lot of talk. Once again, I said a lot of people that work at Area 51 will fly out of Nellis Air Force Base and, fly for the hour and come back every day, daily. So from what I've heard, just chatter on the street is, in a past time, Area 51 may have been a hub for aircrafts and for recovered items from aliens and alien technology, but it has since been moved to a location in Utah. If you want to do a deep dive on that, we can do that as well. But for decades, Area 51 was known as a highly classified military base, and it was at the center of attention for all of the alien conspiracy theories that we know of. This is where they took the UFO from Roswell that crashed in New Mexico. It's claimed that our government was able to not only extract DNA, but also regain technology that was alien technology. And possibly that was what created the smartphones that we use today. So is it reverse engineering? Is that what's happening? But Area 51 remains shrouded in mystery. As you know, it is guarded and gated 24/7. And if you get too close, they will not only arrest you, but they will threaten to shoot you and take your life. But there's many UFO whistleblowers. And it's interesting because there's a lot of them that will be on their deathbed and they'll record videos and recordings. Those, I'm fascinated to watch those. If you ever get bored, watch those, because it's people that claim like aliens aren't bad. I've met them, they crash landed on our planet and I got to work with them and they helped us with technology. And I talked about a cousin that worked at NASA who believed that aliens worked at NASA helping us with, engineer that sort of technology. But the whistleblowers have also testified in front of Congress discussing what potentially aliens and UFOs are. And it begs the question, is the government hiding the fact that aliens and alien technology exists? What's the big secret? Now, it's claimed that they were waiting for mankind to evolve enough to be able to release this information to the public. But it is kind of shocking when you realize that possibly the government for many years has been hiding evidence of extraterrestrials from us and even alien bodies. So what makes you question what's real and what's not? Do you then trust the government who's been hiding this information for decades? Or do we really understand and know what's out there? Will we ever understand and know what's out there? Modern sightings and the ocean connection, the ocean with the motion with the ocean. Now we're going to fast forward to today, which there's a lot going on here, so strap in. And in recent years, the UFO sightings have been it's been going up, especially since this Congress thing happened where Congress basically admitted that we had, alien technology and aliens and alien bases in the ocean that we can't necessarily access due to technological, under advancements on our side. But I'm on the alien side of TikTok and there have been so many sightings. And let me just say that the videos coming out of these sightings, these motherships, are getting better and better. And it's just amazing to know we're not alone out here on this floating rock. But even after all of the headlines, with what we're seeing, not only now, but all the sightings, all these years, we have smartphones and technology to capture it. What's been happening in the ocean is kind of jaw-dropping, although I'm not totally shocked myself. Navy pilots have reported encounters with objects that they call Tic Tacs. Oh, I want to read this verbatim. Smooth, oval-shaped craft that are capable of incredible speeds and maneuvers that we've never seen before. And these objects have been only seen in the air. And I mean, we definitely know that the Air Force also has their, hand of experiences and hand-to-hand visions that there's a lot of people from the military that have disappeared from filming these alien encounters. But apparently these objects will be, flipping through the air and maneuvering at speeds and, velocities that we've never seen before. And all of a sudden they plunge into the ocean without any resistance. And obviously there's nothing that we have, technologically speaking, that can do that. And this brings us to the concept that now we know of today as USOs, unidentified submerged objects. Now there's questions and, speculation that aliens are not only coming from the stars, but they're coming from within our ocean. Going back to what Bashar says, he actually says there are more than several. There's countless portals on our planet. We just haven't been able to get to them or even access them yet. And that is another way that aliens are able to timeline jump. I think that our galaxy, we're just so far out here, even with our sun and our planets, we're just really far away from everything. So I think that there is explanations for how are these aliens able to get to us as fast as they do. I mean, clearly we know that their ships are powerful and of higher technology. I just want to go on a ship. You know what I mean? Like, I tell my friends all the time, if I get abducted, I'm going to make sure I pick you up first. But with the ocean so unexplored, could there be portals down there? Could there be alien bases down there? I mean, I don't want to say it this way, but are extraterrestrials hiding in plain sight? In 2021, a former Pentagon official claimed that UFOs had been spotted entering and exiting at a specific point near Puerto Rico. Are these underwater alien bases? I'm fascinated. Can I go? Somebody pick me up, please. I mean, it's honestly technology that is beyond our comprehension of what we know today. What if the ultimate alien conspiracy that becomes real isn't from space, but it's within the oceans? From ancient times to modern sightings with alien phenomena, it challenges us to think. We have to think about our world. I mean, it's really not that big if you look in space. Every star we see could be a sun with 10 planets surrounding it, and think how many stars are in the sky at night. And without the dark, we would not have light. Are these visitors from the stars? Are they hiding in our oceans? I mean, so many people are going to go the fear route and say, are we afraid? Are we in fear? Are we safe? Or is it something completely different entirely? I mean, if aliens and the Anunnaki did visit us thousands of years ago and help us create some of the most beautiful places that we know of today, which are the Mayan temples and even Egypt, and if the Anunnaki did help, the Lemurians progress and the Atlanteans progress, what's the fear behind the extraterrestrials? It's like the government almost wanted us to be afraid. The truth is, we may never know. There might be some sort of a divine law that says aliens cannot interrupt the way this science experiment is taking place here on Earth. That's one of my theories. They can only help assist us, but they cannot interrupt. Now, another random fact is Bashar had talked about when the atomic bomb had dropped. And when this happened, we were not supposed to, as humans, access that kind of technology. And that was when this call went out up in the stars and on the other side. And the call went out, and that's when it asked all star seeds to incarnate, twin flames to incarnate, crystal children to incarnate, anyone that was a higher level being, because they wanted to change the face of the planet from the inside. So that was when the first wave, the second wave, the third wave, the fourth wave of all these incarnations and spiritual people took place. And it also matches up to the timeline of the New Age spiritual movement, which is all of us who are really interested in aliens and contacting the other side, and just knowing that fear-based religion isn't what we were supposed to follow on this planet. And it was almost like a divine plan where we were going to attack it from the inside out. And if all of us were to come in and level up enough spiritually, that would change the collective consciousness of the earth and the planet from the inside out, because that would create love and not war. Not only... Someone's here. Hello. It's nice to see you. How are you? Wow, that was really predominant. Thank you for being here with the REM pod. I appreciate you. Hello? Can you tell me your name, please? Can you make it beep again? Are you an Anunnaki? Well, feel free to make it alarm and buzz again. Now that we do have a unseen force here that's with us, it's not bad. It's definitely good. I can tell that it's high vibrational. I would just like to sit in quiet for just a second and see if I can hear anything with my own ears and with my new abilities. Chase. I'm not sure what Chase means. Is your name Chase? It's interesting you made an appearance during the UFO podcast. I'm going to assume you are not from this earth. Okay, there's noises coming from behind me. I think it's a male, and it's standing on this side of me, behind me. Just heard yes. I asked if it was a guide in my head. It said no. Do I know you? No. I heard that as well. Connection. Were you sent by my guides? Yes. Okay. I had a tap on my shoulder on this side. Are you good? Yes. Okay. That's good news. Male. Yes. Okay. How many of you are here? 1. Okay. Popping in. Okay. So just to say hello. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you for being here. I'm going to go ahead and carry on with my podcast, but at any moment, if you want to chime in, please do. It was a strange sound. It sounded like a hoverboard or like a UFO hoverboard. You know what I mean? That whoop, 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 whoop noise. So maybe that means he's gone. I'm not sure. Okay. Where were we at? We were talking about Bashar and the atomic bomb. So I just want to talk about that really quickly. Bashar claims that when the atomic bomb went off, we were not supposed to have access to that technology. And not only did it hurt and damage and destroy our own Earth, but it also ricocheted through the multiverse and all of the dimensions that exist within us. And they cannot allow that to happen again. So that's another reason why UFOs watch us, because they will prevent another atomic bomb or a nuclear attack from happening, because not only do they not want us to destroy ourselves, but they also do not want to harm the multiverse where it affected and ricocheted energetically. I mean, even think of, paranormal and ghost hunting, and we use EMFs, like this REM pod just went off, for example. Imagine the amount of energy that would output from an atomic bomb. It could be catastrophic. And I do believe that Bashar even mentioned, I'm getting quite dizzy, so I think it's still here. I'm getting quite dizzy where I'm actually seeing very, very blurred vision. So now it's definitely over here, and I feel like there's 3. There's definitely more than 1 here now, and they're on this side. They stepped away from me to give me a little space. Thank you very much. Are you trying to speak in the microphone? I'm just going to be quiet for a moment. If you'd like to say something, the microphone's right by my neck. I actually do believe I captured an alien EVP when I filmed my last podcast. It was very strange. I did post it on social media. Now, wrapping up this podcast, the truth is out there, but we may never know what the truth actually is. Although I do believe we're on the precipice, and I believe we will live to see the day that aliens do exist. And honestly, I can't wait. I'm an Aquarius moon. I love the future. I love futuristic stuff. I love technology. I am ready for it. But one thing is clear, is that the mystery is far from over. Thank you for joining me on this intergalactic journey. Also, thank you to my alien friends that apparently made an appearance here. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, the big question is, do you believe aliens are real? Do you believe that they exist? Do you believe they are here to harm us? Or do you believe they are here to help us? And of course, the bigger question is, are they hiding beneath the waves? Let me know on social media your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss an episode of Ghost Girl Diaries. And remember, this will be uploaded on all major streaming platforms. Until next time, stay curious. And don't forget, don't only look up, but also start looking down in the water. And that's a wrap on today's episode of Ghost Girl Diaries. Thank you so much for joining me in my crypt. If you loved what you heard, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. It helps the ghostly adventures continue. And also don't forget to follow me on all social media platforms. You can search for Crystal Leandra or Ghost Girl Diaries. Please support me on both. This is where you can catch exclusive content, behind the scenes footage, and stay up to date on all things paranormal and glam. And as always, stay curious, stay fearless, and stay spooky. And I'll catch you next time on Ghost Girl Diaries, where the dead never rest, and neither do we. Until then, my ghoulish friends, sweet screams.